Hey everybody, Brad Linder here for you for the daily sketch card, and I'm going to be doing Odin. So bear with me just a second. As always, got to share this over with the page so everybody can see it, just in case. Um, there we go, cool deal. Now I'm loading my little pencil here so we can do some drawing. My name is Simon, and I like to draw pictures. Yeah, I know I say that all the time, but a couple people ask me about it. It's just from an old Saturday Night Live run in a show, another show that had it as well. This little kid, his name was Simon, and he liked to draw pictures. And it was always funny and awkward stuff that he got stuck in. So, but anyway, after a couple of days of moving this around for the vote and whatnot, and I appreciate you guys chiming in on that. Most of it was private messages, though. But Eddie, Christopher, how you doing, man? I appreciate it for stopping by. Thank you very much. I'm just getting this one started. Like I said, the vote was didn't go over as well because I didn't put it online in time and give everybody, like 24 hours to vote like I normally do. But I just popped it out there and asked, and then I asked like a dozen people, and everybody wanted to see the crow first. So we got the crow out of the way, and then we got Morbius out of the way yesterday, and today I'm doing this Odin, finally. This is a character I've wanted to draw for a while, but I had to wait due to the fact of all the other characters on the list just beaming to be done first. And this one's going to be pretty simple. I mean, I'm doing this one in a high animated style, so it should be fairly clean. And it's going to be, when it's colored, it's going to be bright, very, very bright. Bright and simple. And I don't normally do them quite this open, but in this particular case, I wanted to do a special version of Odin like I used to read about in the old Walt Simonson and Jack Kirby type of Thor books. I always read the vintage Thor stuff. I didn't. I liked him in the 80s, really good, but I preferred the 60s and 70s stuff, the older stuff. The stories were just a lot different. Same thing with Doctor Strange when Steve Ditko was on it. I loved that stuff. I wasn't old enough, of course, to be involved with the original runs, but I just really, really resonated with those books. And the old Jack Kirby stuff, man, if you look at the old Thor and, the original older stuff that Jack Kirby was involved with as the artist, man, it was crazy because it had that really cool 60s type of aesthetic to it. And the bright colors with his old classic sci-fi style. I keep saying old. Apparently that's the word of the day. But with that old school style of his drawing sci-fi and stuff like that, and the way he did like the Centurions and the old guard, new god stuff, where it was really a lot of blocky edges and bright colors and very symmetrical. Just phenomenal stuff. And he did a lot of the original armors that way for Thor and the Asgardians. So when you see like the fin heads, kind of thing and whatnot, that was Jack that did that for the most part. He was forever drawing that kind of stuff. If you watch Thor Ragnarok, if you go to the theater and see it, or see it when it comes out on DVD, however you're gonna see it, you'll be able to see a lot of that reflected in that. If you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy, where the Collector is in that scene in the first volume, the way that the Celestials came in, the Eternals, and came in and showed the stones, the guys with the staff, blowing up the planets and whatnot that were supposed to be the originals that could control it. Those are the guys that Jack Kirby designed in that style. And you can go online and see a bunch of that stuff. If you look at Googling Jack Kirby drawing Thor, you'll be able to see a bunch of that kind of stuff and get a real understanding of the way he designed these things to be alien for the purposes of the sci-fi story that he and Stan were telling at the time. And it was just phenomenal stuff. I mean, it has a very cosmic, unearthly feel to it, and that is rare, you know, because everything looks either Star Wars. It's the classic sci-fi depiction of Star Wars versus Star Trek. Star Trek is always humanoid, but masked. You know, it always looks different. It's a version of humans, except for the tribbles. And then you have the Star Wars universe where everything can be alien. You know, it can be alien. It can be on 2 legs or 6 legs, or can be, you know, completely non-human in form. And that's okay. That's okay. And it's a rare find anymore that you get to see that. Because, like I said, it's always divided into one of 2 things, one of 2 factions. And it's either really hardcore humanoid, or it's really called hardcore alien or other species-esque. I know this nose looks a little awkward, but that's because I haven't shaded it in yet. There we go. Because I made his nostrils like really high up. Because this is a down view from his nose, where, you know, or an up view actually. Because we're down here and looking up at him in an angle, and that's the reason for that. Because we're up under his chin, and that's why I left that divide there, because we're up under his chin if you see the way he's looking. So it may look a little funky at first, but it's definitely there. It's there. It'll come in. It'll come in. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. But yeah, I always found it really, really cool to check that stuff out and see that, you know, a lot of these things are just coming off the way they're supposed to in some of these later films, and I'm really impressed with it. I just hope to get to see more of it come down the line as Disney does more with, you know, the upcoming movies and stuff. But who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Only they do. We don't know anything. But and don't get me wrong, I'm still a huge Marvel fan. It's just with them closing everything down and whatnot, it's really hardcore. But I think they're going to surprise us, and they're going to come out on the Marvel Unlimited. And as I said the other day, I think they're going to jump on the Marvel Unlimited and come out that way, and then we're going to have digital Marvel. But that's okay too, whatever works. Because, you know, I've been in the market for a long time working with digital stuff since 2003, so I'm totally cool with all of that transition. A lot of people aren't, but I'll still be collecting paper trades as long as they sell them too, so I'm good with that. It's just the monthly stuff that isn't selling so well on that level, but that's okay too. Whatever works. I mean, it's part of the evolution. It's part of the evolution. It's ever-changing, evergreen. Yeah, I was talking with my buddy Rusty Gilligan yesterday, and he's been an old-school comic guy, you know, since way back. And he's a Golden Age fan anyway. But as far as his production goes, he's an inker professionally. And he's got a book coming out. And he finally decided to put, I'm not going to reveal the book because he'll kill me, but I don't have permission to do that yet, and I wouldn't throw him under the bus like that. But he's got a book coming out, and it's completely digital now. And he's really excited about it, giving it a shot. And I was just like, yeah, man, welcome to the modern age. But because I'm an advocate for print and digital, where he was more of always he wasn't opposed to I won't throw him under the bus by that either, because he wasn't opposed to digital. He just didn't prefer it. Well, let me put it like that, because I don't want to speak on his behalf and, lose a good friend because of it. 20-year-old relationship down the tubes because you said something smart, Alec. I don't want to do that. But yeah, he's finally gotten on the digital bandwagon, and it's really, really cool. And I can't wait for you guys to be able to see that book either, because it's phenomenal. And I'm a huge fan of that character. So, but I digress, and I'm going to slip up, and then I'm going to be shot in the leg or something. I'll get an email and open it up, and an alarm will come out through the screen and shoot me in the arm. Just be wallowing on the table. Not good. But my daughter would think that was hilarious. But no, we won't go there. But if you're on the Thor bandwagon, definitely check it out with the old school Odin stuff, because he is an interesting character, a very, very interesting character. And I wasn't going to reveal this just yet, but I think I will anyway, since I'm drawing Odin today. I have an incarnation of the Greek and Norse gods coming into play in Firestorm. Believe it or not, we have some interesting stuff coming up there as well. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. 2018 is going to be really, really heavy for me anyway. But because I personally am doing 4, 5, 6, 7 books that I'm writing right now for the Firestorm line, and I'm drawing 3 of those. I'm going to be penciling 3 of those, and I'm inking another one. So we're stockpiling issues so that we can get that out there. And then, of course, the webcomic that comes out finally, which I keep talking about. Everybody keeps ripping at me about. I can't wait for this one. But only another day or so. And then we're going to start releasing stuff. So we tried to get it out back in October, but there were production problems. And that was because I had to finish up other projects that I was working on first. I had to finish those commitments so that I could stick to my word on that and get those done. And then get full-time into this. So that was where that came about, and why the hesitancy. So I always find it funny when people get ticked off at me because they're like, man, that's just crazy. You do too much, and you're not getting anything out, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no. I'm stacking. Just wait. Just wait. Because you guys are about to see a bunch of this stuff come up. And when it does, it's going to be everywhere. It's awesome. I'm very excited. For one thing, I had to finish my new book and get it online, which it's on Amazon now. And I'm all excited about that. But people have been waiting a little while for that. And I'm about to put the 3rd and 4th and 5th installment online. So that'll be pretty cool. But that's my self-help line from my marketing work, not necessarily from my comic business. My comics have been holding off because of all the other, like I said, the projects I obligated myself to that I had to get into first to uphold those agreements and whatnot. Most of it was back burner projects for friends and stuff like that because I don't need the freelance. But I do it because I love it. I'll get my big knuckles out of the way here in just a second. You guys will be able to see some of this. See, he's coming off all right. We got to detail out these horns, though, and things like that. Because it's looking a little weird. Looks a little flat. Put in some edge to that mustache a little bit. A little body to it. There we go. Cool. Trying to round out and leave just a little bit of that lip showing. I don't want to black out the whole lip. I want it to show underneath the hair just a little to show that it's not his lip there. It's the hair. I want that to show up. And I don't want to overwork this to where it looks weird too. You know, you go overworking the mustache and the beard, and then he looks like a cat instead of looking like a human, and that's weird. Makes me want to imitate the snowman from the Thundercats and starts, snow meow. I know that's a disgustingly sad imitation, but still funny. Because he busted me up. But anyway. Trying to knock out some of this cape here. Thicken this up a little bit. There we go. Let's see. I want to put a rim on this. Now, by putting this little edge in here, it's all it takes to pop that up and make it look three-dimensional. I know some people will argue that point, but it's not so. You can argue all you want to, but it's not going to change it. No offense, but it's not. It's not going to change it. Now I'm going to black out this bottom edge, and I'm going to put in just a partial blackening for some of these. Oh, I'll block that one out. Why not? Because it makes it look better. I tried to leave some of the light on there to contrast, but it looked better blacked out. Yeah, it makes it look more, definitely look more solid. I'm going to turn in just a little bit here, make that cheek come up. And not going to black out completely around the eye because I don't want to black it out to where he looks like he's painted or wearing a mask, because that's just strange. And I'm going to put in the classic patch here, because this patch was the original design from the first film, if you saw it, with Anthony Hopkins as Odin. It had kind of these striped patchwork almost across type of thing, and it was metal. So we had that going on. And right in here, you got to be careful with this because you'll mess it up if you don't do it just right. Right in here, what you want to do is you want to add a little bit of a curve with the hair like this. And you want to leave it open. You don't want to go blacken it out too heavy because you'll make it look weird. But if you do that, you add that symbolism of the chin right there, where the whiskers get a little thicker and curve down, and they make it that awkward shape. Because most guys have to condition the crap out of their beard, and that's a technical term. And as a beard man myself, you have to condition the fire out of it to make it work. And if you don't, it won't. It'll grow all different shades right here and directions and all that good stuff, and it'll look scruffy. And I always like to do it that way because then it looks like it's got a little more edge to it, and it shows off that chin and gives that instant appeal of, there's his chin, there's the jawline, there's the refined definition that you need for the character. And a lot of people don't get that. And I like to put different configurations on this. On the shield covers of the clips for the cape, and for his chest plates for the realms, as some of them really were. Like in the first one, if you saw where Thor got his power taken away in the first film, that actually happened in the comic books too, and it happened more than once. He would rip away the disc, and these discs were actually technological homing beacons for going to the 9 realms. It was part of their sci-fi technology. Jack Kirby developed that in the comic book. These symbols that were on Thor, the big rings, everybody was like, why does he wear big circles on his ring? What it was is it was the actual technology that they would use to teleport them from place to place. These were homing disc, kind of a GPS system in their armor. And if you didn't know that, you're welcome. So, yeah. That's why the Asgardians always wore that. And I mean, it was every one of them in some form had the disc. They all had them in some form on their costumes, in belts. They had them on gauntlets on their arms. They had them on their chest or whatever, you know. Loki wore his on his arms and on his belt, and wore one on his belt for Asgard, wore a couple up on his shoulders, and then wore a couple down on his shin guards on his boots for the longest time. But that was just an original take on that, and you can thank Jack Kirby for that design. So, dude was awesome. But hey, thanks, Alfred. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Hello, Miss Deborah. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. You hardly ever get to get on. I'm glad you got to today. I appreciate that. Talking to friends. If you're watching this later on Facebook, on YouTube, on the channel, Facebook is where I'm at right now, and I'm going to start doing some YouTube lives as well for the channel to get some stuff going over there. But if you're watching this, that's why I'm always talking to people. Friends and business. Business of drawing the cards and hanging out with the friends, showing a little bit of the experience. Always cool. Now, on Odin's horns, they were originally ram horns, and Kirby actually drew them all in. Okay, he had that laid out really well. And then whenever you got into it for the modern age, when I believe it was Simonson that changed it up to a metallic horn, because they had the scientific metal look where they didn't exist. Then they changed them into ram horns for a while to counter Loki's up tossed horns, and then you had this curvature type of design, which is more of a modern take, and they've gone from actual ram horns to metal now. And they originally were, if you saw the original film, the Thor film, where that beast on the ice planet came out with the huge horns, the massive black horns that he had, where he busted through the ice wall and glacier and all that. What you ended up seeing there, those were the original horns that Odin had on his helmet. They were black at one point, and that was the reason why they were designed that way. And then that particular character, when they came up with it for the film, and you see him on the horse saving all the Asgardians, where they went, where Thor and the others went to fight the ice giants on their own without permission, and you see the horns on his helmet, how huge they are. That was because he defeated one of these beasts that was protecting the king when he defeated the ice giants, and that's what that was supposed to be. An imposing figure and recollection of that homage to that original battle. So that's why the horns that came out of his helmet were shining gold, because his helmet was lit up, but underneath that they were black. And he had an alternative helmet hanging in his room when you see him in the bed taking the Odin sleep, his armor, they're actually black when that happens. And I found that really, really cool to pay that cool of a detailed attention to it. So, you know, the guys that did the original Thorn film they were just on point, plain and simple. They were all over it. But anyway, we have this stuff going down right here, right now. Now, instead of making the normal circular dip that I make on the armor, I'm making this kind of a slashed Kirby style touch, so that you guys can see that going on. And we're gonna knock that out right there. And I'm gonna go right in here and knock this out. So that's gonna make it a little more open and look a little more war-torn, rather than, and like it's a different composition than earth metals. So that was why I did it that way. But I just got asked, what's the deal with the torn up cuticles and nails and stuff? I was moving a bunch of papers and stuff and getting some storage out for the move after the first of the year, and I wanted to get some stuff done and ended up tearing up my hands going through old paper files and things like that. I had a friend of mine, she told me, she said, you should moisturize when you're messing with the paper, because I shredded my hands up. That's an old habit for me from my printing days, where my advertising and printing days when I was working in the industry back then, I used to get into trouble with that all the time because of the fact that I wouldn't moisturize like I should for my hands. And it's just one of those rough days, and now I'll have to go take care of them because I tore them up. I feel really bad about it too, because I like to take care of my hands and stuff. But I'm kind of vain about it, actually. But yeah, today they look really, really rough. That's the old farm boy in me. Habits like that tend to come back up on you sometimes. You get in the work zone and you want to get stuff knocked out. You go through it with the little cuts and scrapes and stuff like that until the day is done. Then you go in and doctor everything. I guess I still got that mentality. So trying to make these pop up a little bit and show off this depth of these just a little, to where they look like they stand up like they're supposed to. And now I'm gonna go right down in here and shade up under here just a little, but I'm gonna do this one on a slant though. There we go. Cool deal. And I'm going to wrap out this helmet, and then we're done. I'll go over here and draw in Odin's eye. Then we'll call it a day. Let's see. Put in that one. Little notch right there. And now we'll draw on his eye, and we're going to call it a day, because like I said, I don't want to mess this up too much. And if I go to detailing on it anymore, I'm going to mess it up, because I know what I'm going to do. I'll overwork this thing, and then it'll be a disaster. I'm going to have him looking up off into the realm here. Boom, done. Odin. There we go. Hope you guys dig it. Hope you have a good time with it. And one thing I didn't do, which I do need to do because the back of his helmet is open right here. I don't know why I didn't even draw that in. I'll have to do that right now. I'm going to put some of his hair back there for where it comes out the back of his helmet, because it's cut about the base of his neck and comes up where the helmet sits, where he has full mobility. And then he's got this one side plate that comes down the back, which protects the sides of his head and his neck. And that's it. But anyway, that's it. That's Odin. Hope you guys dig it. I'm going to get back to it tomorrow with another one for you. Got a couple of surprises coming up, and we're going to go from there. But thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. I will catch you guys tomorrow. Take it easy. Be nice. Hug somebody. Smile. Say hi. Make a friend. And try to leave the world a better place than you had it. And if you're an artist, draw something. If you're a writer, write something. If you have a gift and a craft, do something today so you can officially say you are that person. You know, that is part of you, but you're not part of it unless you are actually hands-on with it. I am an artist. I drew this today. So, you know, follow the lead, do something cool. Check you later. Take care. Thanks for visiting.